What's up, guys? It's G here, and welcome back to the Grizzly Life podcast. Today will be another Q&A style episode focusing more on diet and nutrition. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe, follow, and turn on notifications. Now let's get into episode 9 of the Grizzly Life podcast.
Yo, what is up, guys? It is Colton here. Today is our Thursday episode. We appreciate you tuning in to episode 9 of many. It has been a journey thus far. We're a couple weeks in. We're doing 2 episodes a week. It has been a lot of fun. You know, before we start recording these episodes, I always have like this weird feeling of like, not lack of motivation or lack of wanting to do it, but I'm just like, and I'm sharing this thought because it's like I'm just starting this out. I'm just new to podcasts. I'm new to content, but my initial feeling is like, oh man, I don't really want to do the podcast, right? And it's not that I don't want to do them because I love doing them, and the after feeling of the podcast feels great. We go up, we record our episodes, we wrap them up. I'm like, oh, let's do another one. Let's shoot another episode, and it's a lot of fun. But I just have like this like feeling all day. It's like, what should I talk about? What do the people want to hear? Are they going to enjoy listening to me? It's all those thoughts in the back of my mind that like are the thoughts that probably most people have as to why they don't do it. You're concerned about what everybody else thinks. You're concerned if it's going to be a good episode. You're concerned if it's going to be a flop or a bad episode. You're concerned if it's going to be too long, too short. Am I going to sound good? Am I going to say a lot? Am I going to be fluent? Am I going to, all this stuff, right? That's all the things that go on in your head. And those are the reasons why a lot of us don't do things. They're concerned about everybody else. They're concerned about all these things that don't really exist, but our mind is damn good at making these things exist. So anyways, sorry for the quick ramble here, but it's episode 9 of many. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Before we get started, follow me on Snapchat, colton.burt, COLTON.BURT. Instagram is coltonburt19. I promise I will start making some posts on Instagram. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I do try to post on my stories on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. And on Facebook, just search me. Otherwise, username's coltonburt19 there as well. That is a brief overview. Today, it's just G and I, G in the producer chair, myself, Colton. We are going to be going back and forth. We've got some more Q&A stuff today. I believe we're going to be talking about some nutrition stuff, maybe some fitness stuff, just kind of going back and forth, having a good conversation again. So yeah. And before Garrett tells me I'm an idiot, I need to give you guys some backdrop. If today is your first episode tuning in, I strongly recommend you go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. That talks a lot about our story, our history, how we came to about who we are, why we're here, a little bit of what's created the Grizzly Life podcast. If this is your first episode, my name is Colton Burt. I am 26 years old. We own 6 fitness centers. 5 of them I own outright. The 6th one I am partners with a guy named Jacob Colburn from Oshkosh. That is called Grizzly Fitness, and the partner gym is Grizzly O-Town. We own another company called Priority Fitness. Priority Fitness is a fitness equipment company. They do service and sales, equipment moves, equipment installs. We travel Wisconsin. We do house calls, we do commercial calls, we do all the stuff fitness equipment related. We have a warehouse full of used equipment and new product. If you need anything, let us know. We'll probably be able to hook you up. That being said, we also own a couple pieces of real estate. 3 of the 6 gyms are in real estate that we own, or 3 of the 6 gyms are in pieces of real estate that we own, and we own a 4th piece of real estate. That building is currently not being utilized at its full potential at the moment, but we've got some plans with that one as well. So, that is a brief background on myself, our companies, Grizzly Fitness, Priority Fitness, the Grizzly Life podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, again, go back and listen to episodes 1 through 4. It will give you a full brief on who we are and why we do what we do. And a lot of our episodes, we refer back to episodes 1 through 4. So I hate assuming you know our history, but go back and listen to those as well. So, thank you all for joining us. I'm going to kick it over to G for question number 1 of the day.
What's up, guys? So today's questions are going to be about diet and fitness. So the first one here is, what is your current diet like, and what do you recommend for the average person?
What is my current diet like, and what do I recommend for the average person? I did bring this up 2 episodes ago, I think episode 7, that I am currently on the carnivore diet. I am not concerned whether you think this is a good idea or a bad idea. For myself, I like to do the carnivore diet. Everybody likes their own thing. Everybody, whether the 2 extremes, carnivore versus vegan, I don't care what you do as long as you have a diet and stick to it. I have found the carnivore diet is extremely effective for myself. Those of you who don't know what the carnivore diet is, it is basically red meat, salt and water, and eggs. That is how I look at it. There's some extremities of like the lion diet. It's the most extreme version of the carnivore. And then there's like keto, which is like high protein with low net carbs and all this stuff. I'm by no means a dietitian or a nutritionist. I am not giving anybody advice on what they should or shouldn't do. Just throwing that out there. I am on the carnivore diet. Before I started the carnivore diet, was already huge into red meat and eggs. I ate them all the time. My favorite meal is steak, or a burger, or eggs over easy, or scrambled. Don't really care. I like that food. The last, basically forever since I was in high school, I've always been on some kind of diet. And a diet is basically saying you're following some kind of general food in versus food out, what you're eating, what you're watching, that kind of stuff. So no, I'm not like I'm on this diet or that diet, but just generally watching what I've been eating. Last July, I said, you know what? I'm tired of like kind of having these diets because when I'm working out, training like bodybuilder style, your goal is to just eat as much food as you can, put on as much size and that kind of stuff. So when I was dieting before, I was like, okay, well, healthy food, right? Pastas, rice, chicken, eggs, whatever, right? All of these things are good. But I wasn't really tracking macros. I wasn't really tracking calories in, calories out. I was just making sure I was working hard, getting activity in, and trying to eat my food. Well, it's very easy some days to overeat on the pastas or overeat on the rice or have one too many fruits and have too much sugars. And so I don't know what happened, but I was like, you know what? I've been seeing a lot about this carnivore diet. I'm going to try it. Went to the carnivore diet. And the thing that I like most about carnivore is that it's strict enough, or so strict, that you know what you can and can't eat. And there's not really concerns about overeating. A lot of people who do the carnivore say like they can basically eat 2 or 3 meals a day. They could try to eat as much steak as they want. Typically, they'll be like, I'm full, I don't want more. A lot of people who just eat food, what happens? You sit down for dinner at a restaurant, or you go out for dinner, whatever, and you eat and you become full and you can't eat the rest of your plate. But the immediate reaction afterwards is, hey, you want to go to Dairy Queen and get that ice cream? Yeah, that does sound pretty good, right? Or they come out and they offer you the dessert menu. I'm not one to buy the dessert because I don't want to pay too much from a restaurant for dessert. But generally speaking, you always can find room for the dessert. You could have been stuffed your mouth full on steak and potatoes and whatever else at dinner. Oh, if you don't feel good, you got room for dessert? I do. And that's just how we are, because that food, in my opinion, is modified in a way that it's, your brain, and you're like, I can make it work. I've got room for that. That's sweet tooth, the sugar. So I'm on the carnivore diet. I eat pretty strict. Eggs, ground beef. That's my main diet throughout the week. I do like a good ribeye steak. I'm not going to cry about any red meat. I do eat some chicken, very minimal, and I do eat some fish. I'm not extremely strict. I'll still go out and get some wings. That's not necessarily, it is carnivore, but, there's just some things that a strict carnivore wouldn't do. So that is what I do without going too crazy into how I do the carnivore. We could have a long conversation about the carnivore diet. I'm on the carnivore. I find it to be effective. I've lost a lot of body fat. I've maintained most of my muscle. I have plenty of energy throughout the day. And, if you have any questions directly about the carnivore, shoot me a Snapchat, shoot me a message. We can talk more about it. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on like carnivore versus other diets, and we'll go back and forth. But I do want to add, I did have my blood pressure and stuff checked for a side thing, I believe a couple months ago. So this is already after I've been on the carnivore for some time. I was like perfect basically in all aspects. I want to say I was like 115 over like 75, or, I was even below the 120 over 80, whatever it was. I'm not a doctor. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe that number wasn't right, but I was in a very good, healthy area. and all of the blood work came back extremely good, way better than when I got my blood drawn and tested a year prior when I was not on the carnivore. So I do kind of keep an eye on it. There's some people who say red meat's really bad for you and all that stuff. I try to get rid of the processed foods and all that stuff. And so now going to the second part of the question, what do I recommend for the average person? I recommend to have a diet and follow a diet, and don't have your crazy cheat days. And if you're going to have a cheat day, plan it the right way. So what I mean is, I believe processed foods to be extremely bad. I believe in plastics to be extremely bad. Eating Doritos and Fritos and all these other bagged items that we man make probably is not a good thing to put in your body. You have to think about the longevity of you in this life and how many years you have to live. You have to think about, the gas you put in your car. If you were to put a bad fuel in your car, if you drove a sports car and you're putting in the cheapest fuel in all the time, that sports car is probably not going to perform the way it needs to. So what I'm trying to say is the same thing goes with your body. What you put in is what you get out. Your mental clarity, your blood pressure, obesity, depending on what you put in, you're going to be a direct reflection of that. So for the average person, I wouldn't say go extreme and be a carnivore. Would I say carnivore is a good thing and easy to follow? I think so, but it's not for everyone. That being said, I generally believe in a high protein diet. I really just recommend whole foods, foods that we do not man make, foods that we can find in a garden, food that we can, grow and produce ourselves, right? That's sticking to as natural as possible, organic as possible. That is the ideal scenario. And obviously that's very bland, but today's day and age, there's so much junk out there. It's easy to buy. It's cheap. Health is expensive, but I guarantee you in 20, 30, 40 years, depending on your age, you're going to be a lot more thankful if you figure out a good, healthy diet now than waiting to change your life when you're 45 or 50 because, well, I'm not as good as I don't look as good as I once was. Anybody can be 25 and skinny and eat a bunch of bullshit, but cut out that stuff now. Focus on a good diet. Think about long term. Think about the health of you. Think about being able to breathe right. Think about being able to play with your kids, your grandkids, all that stuff. And when you think about all of those things, you can think about what you're putting in your mouth. That's my 2 cents on what the average person should be eating. Not processed, not man-made. Get rid of all the additives. Get rid of the nitrates. You don't have to be a natural freak. I'm not saying that, but as clean as you can, the better, right? So keep a high protein diet too. We need protein. So that's my 2 cents without going too crazy into what diet to pick. Just follow a diet and stay to it.
All right. Next question. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Intermittent fasting is pretty cool. I don't know enough about it to really give my 2 cents. I do think I keep seeing more and more come out, and I haven't read enough on it to give you my actual opinion, but from the things that I see online, which you can find anything you want online and make an opinion, or not really have an opinion and just believe the first video you see on TikTok, but intermittent fasting, I think, actually has a lot of hidden benefits to it. I think there's all these studies coming out where, by intermittent fasting is good, I think. I don't really do it, but the rule that I try to follow is only eat when the sun's up. So don't be eating 8, 9, 10 o'clock, at night. Your body's in a different kind of rest mode, trying to come down and go to bed. It's darker out. Your body's ready to go to sleep, or it's preparing itself to go to sleep. That being said, don't put food in it and screw up the system. Your body's going to try to break that down. It's not going to sleep as well. You're going to have a higher resting heart rate at night. You're not going to get as good sleep and good recovery, which I'm big into. So I try to follow the rule of only eat when the sun is up. So I will work out fasted in the morning. I will get food shortly thereafter because by that time the sun is up. And I'll try to finish eating around 5, 6 o'clock. Intermittent fasting, I think, has a lot of hidden benefits. I know there's something out there where after 72 hours of fasting, so that's not intermittent fasting, 72 hours of fasting, your body kills a bunch of bad cells or gets rid of all these bad cells and kind of does a regen. It's supposed to help with a bunch of all case, living longer and getting rid of bad cells in the body, basically. I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough to really tell you how I feel about fasting, but I do think there's a lot of good benefits to it. If you do it the right way and still get enough calories in, I think there's a benefit to going on like a 16-hour fast. So if you do a 16-hour fast, that would be, eating your last meal at 4 p.m. and then you get to, what's the math? You get to eat at 8 a.m. again, right? That's 16 hours because 4 to midnight and then 8. So if you eat your last meal at 4 p.m., you can eat breakfast at 8. That's a 16-hour fast. You can eat your last meal at 6 p.m. and eat breakfast at 10 a.m. I think that's very easy to do. There are a lot of hidden benefits. Do your own research before deciding if that's the way to go. But yeah, I'll do some more research in intermittent fasting in the coming weeks. We'll have a legit conversation about it. But I think it's all right. I think it's a decent thing. What do you got next?
Next question is, what are some tips when it comes to the gym, whether you're a beginner, expert, whatever? What are some tips you'd be willing to give?
Yeah.
Generally.
I think, briefly, the number one tip is like consistency is key in anything you do. And so if you want to have a good workout regimen or you want to see real results, consistency is the number one thing you need to do. Even if you're going to the gym and not knowing what you're doing, going there and doing something is better than doing absolutely nothing. Getting in a routine, getting in a groove, getting in a habit, making it a habit, that is the most important thing. So being consistent, whether you're going for 15 minutes a day to start. Hey, I'm just going to go walk on the tread for 15 minutes. Make it a habit. Never been in the gym before? Go walk on the treadmill for 15, 20 minutes. Get out of the gym. Feel comfortable about walking to that gym, right? And that's a good beginning thing. If you're weightlifting, you're getting into dumbbells, barbells, functional fitness, whatever it is, go and do something for 30 minutes, And again, consistency is all you need to kind of really create something big in the compounding effect or the compounding effect. By being consistent now, in 5 years' time, you will have made a lot of progress. You can't go in today and expect results yesterday type thing. So consistency is number one on my recommendations on that. Number two, a lot of people think to get the body you desire, you need to go to the gym for 2 hours, 3 hours, all this crazy stuff. You got to wear a sweatsuit. You got to get rid of all this water weight, which doesn't really matter anyways. Water weight's fine. But you have to go and do all this crazy stuff. You got to go on the stair stepper for 30 minutes. You got to lift for an hour. You got to walk for another half an hour. Yeah, there are some extreme programs out there. There's bodybuilders out there. Like, there's times and needs for all of that stuff. The average person, 45 minutes is all you need. Get in and get out. Go and have a good solid lift. That's what I stick to. I get a 45-minute lift as my goal. I start my timer as soon as I start my first exercise, and I always shoot for 45 minutes. Sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's 50. Again, that's kind of my sweet spot. That's in enough. I'm not overtraining. I'm getting a good workout in. So 45 minutes is all you need to go in and weight lift. I mean, debatably, you could say all you need is 30 minutes if you go in there and really keep your head down and do what you're supposed to do. But 45 minutes is kind of my second tip. Stick to that number. That's like without doing cardio and that kind of stuff. I just like to lift for 45 minutes. If you want to add a 20-minute walk-in or 10-minute cool-down or whatever, that's great too. Make sure you get your steps in. Number 3, I would say, is stretch. It's something I don't do enough of. I think it's something that is overlooked. I think stretching is extremely valuable. Even going to the gym to stretch would be great. Starting off, ending every workout with a stretch, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes, would be huge. I think the older we get, the less flexible we get. The more you work out, the less flexible you get. As far as the more like weightlifting stuff you do, the less flexible you get. The more muscle you put on, the less flexible you get. So it's very important to keep a good stretching routine. They don't need to be anything crazy. We've all learned stretching exercises throughout high school, how to put your arm across your body, do the butterfly with your legs, one leg over the other and pull your knee to your chest, whatever. Do 5 to 10 minutes of stretching every day. It'll pay off in the long run. The older we get, the tighter our muscles get, the tighter our bodies get, the more injury prone we are. I think for longevity, flexibility, I think flexibility is kind of a very important thing, often overlooked. I don't even do it enough, so that's something I want to get in the habit of. And the number 4, what would be my last tip? I would say, like, focusing on recovery. I think, again, if we're just getting into fitness, stay consistent. You only got to go for 45 minutes. Get a stretching routine going, whether it's at the gym or at home. As soon as you wake up, right before you go to bed, whatever you want to do, stretch every day. And focus on recovery. whatever that means to you, whether that means 1 day on, 1 day off at the gym, Monday through Friday working out, Saturday, Sunday off, Sundays are my rest day, whatever it is, make sure you're valuing your recovery time and do things to speed up your recovery. Eat good foods. Don't eat processed stuff. Focus on sleep. Don't eat right before you go to bed, like I mentioned. Get good quality sleep. Keep a good, consistent sleep schedule. Like, that'll be huge for recovery purposes. And so that's, I could go on for probably another 5 minutes about recovery and what I like to do, but find what you need to recover better, more efficiently. And again, I think it comes down to a lot of the consistencies. A good sleep schedule, a diet, be consistent in your diet, consistently meet your activity goal. If you just go and work out every day, but you have an office job, that's not going to cancel out just because you got a good 45-minute workout in, but you sat in a desk all day. You still need to get some steps in. So you're going to need to force yourself to go get some activity in. Humans weren't made to sit at a desk 8 to 10 hours a day. Break up your day. Go walk to the post office. Walk for lunch. Whatever you got to do. Be consistent. Stay consistent. That's my 2 cents there.
All right. Next question is, what originally got you into collecting cool gym equipment, and why do you like that kind of stuff?
Sure. A little different off topic here from fitness and nutrition, but yeah, so our niche for Grizzly Fitness is cool, awesome equipment, rare stuff you don't see every day. And I think that's what kind of makes our community style gym even more cool. It's not just a community gym. You don't just walk in and get the circuit and the nice cardio. We do have that stuff as well. But we have awesome stuff from 40 years ago, 50 years ago. One of our gyms in Princeton, one of our Grizzly gyms, I collect chrome gym equipment because you don't see it anymore. The Arnold era of gym equipment, all chrome weight stacks, chrome machines, super cool. I just like it. It's awesome. It's built, in quotations, it's built better. It's built stronger back then. It's built in America, all that stuff. But it's just cool, like how they manufactured stuff back then. Nowadays, we're all worried about cutting cost and keeping the equipment to be extremely affordable for the end user and just making stuff, in quotations, more cheap. So I like to collect old stuff. It doesn't break. It's cool. It looks different. It's got more uniqueness to it because they didn't care about those things back then. They just wanted to make the best functioning gym equipment back then, where now, generally speaking, the manufacturers want to keep equipment looking nice. They want it to look good for the general population. I'm not worried about it looking great. I want it to be awesome. I want it to function, and I want people to respect it and love it. And it's fun. You collect all this stuff, and you become a collector, basically. People have their own little thing they like to collect, their own little hobby. Gym equipment's mine. I'm a hoarder of gym equipment. That's what I do. So that's kind of my 2 cents there. It's fun. You got to travel around. You got to keep an eye out. You're like always hunting for it. It's built better. It functions great. People love it. They talk about it. Again, that word of mouth factor. So yeah, that is why we collect that stuff. Not a whole lot to say there. You got any other questions, or does that wrap up today's episode a little bit?
I think that's all I got for today.
That's all you have got. Well, today is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode. A couple Q&A questions there. Hopefully you're enjoying it. I do need some feedback. I do need you guys to text me if you've got my number. If you know me personally, I'm not going to put that on here, but if you're a friend of mine listening to this, give me some feedback. Be nice about it, but tell me what you'd like to hear. Tell me what I need to do better. Tell me that I'm the best at it. Whatever you want to tell me, just tell me something. I'd really appreciate it. Today was episode 9. 9 of many, I believe this episode is. It's been fun. Trying to think if there's any end notes I need to put in there. Remember, be 1% better every day, whatever that means to you. Keep your head down. Go out and get it. Figure out how you can be a little bit better. And when I say be 1% better, that doesn't mean you have to walk 10 more steps than you did yesterday. Obviously, that's going to grow and be way too many steps, and you're never going to be able to do it. But can you get 10,000 steps in every day? That's going to make you a better person. Can you read 10 minutes a day? Can you wake up 10 minutes earlier than yesterday so that way you can get your reading in? Like, can you change in a positive way is what be 1% better means, right? Go for that walk outside. Get that book done. Read a little bit. better yourself. Become a better human. I just read there was an interesting quote I threw on my Snapchat the other day. It was, in 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today. The only difference will be the people you know or the people you've met and the books you've read. And to me, that's interesting. I mean, those are the things that will change you ever so slightly in 5 years' time, right? So the books that you've read or the people that you've met / know, that'll be the only difference to you in 5 years' time. So, interesting thought there, but be 1% better. Go out and figure out how you can be the best version of yourself and only do 1% better. You don't need to be 10% better. You don't need to be 20% better tomorrow. We're looking for the long-term compounding effect. We're looking for the habits to be built up over time. We're looking to just slowly change and become the best versions of ourselves. Don't sit down on a piece of paper and write everything down that is not okay with you, yourself, your body, your mental status, whatever it is. Don't go and write down 20, 30 things that you want to change. Just find one thing and stick to that for the next 1, 2, 3 weeks. I want to read a little bit more. I want to read 5 minutes a day. I want to read 2 pages a day. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. I want to clean my car once this month, once this week. I want to vacuum, whatever it is. Like, let's just change, tweak a little bit of habits. And again, become the best versions of yourself. So be 1% better. And remember, when you're arguing, stop. Don't argue with people. I talked about this last episode. I think it's funny to throw it in now. Go back and listen to last episode. Listen to all of our past episodes. But the best way to win an argument is to not have an argument. You don't need to win. You're going to hurt other people's feelings anyways. Either you're going to be upset, that person's going to be upset. Don't do it. Don't worry about it. Move on, apologize, find common ground. That's my 2 cents in arguing. Anyways, appreciate your time on episode 9 of many. Give us some feedback. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. Again, my name's Colton Burt. I'm with G in the producer chair. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.